Got some bot infighting in chat. Melvin's first night bot. OG versus the new guys in town. I don't know how to get this stream deck. It always changes pages when I'm not using it enough. Going. Alright. Howdy, howdy, hey guys. I'm gonna consider today another test stream, just kind of feeling things out, you know, get the technical kinks all figured out. I'm also a little sick still if you can't hear. Really enjoyed the last stream I did, and I just like talking about stuff and explaining things going on in the news and politics and stuff. So let's just start another one and see how it goes. Not sure how long I'm gonna go today, maybe hour or two, but just kind of want to go through some news, read about some stuff. Um, yeah, just kind of practice in a way. Also, I'm gonna start a newsletter here soon, so I kind of want to get some go through some news, talk about some stuff, get, you know, share my opinions, do some analysis, kind of think about why things are happening, and kind of use that as starting point, you know, for the newsletter. It's going to be called The Market Rules. Like, yeah, the market rules. Or like, the market rules, like, better follow the rules. Because I think that government regulation is good and it helps consumers, and, you know, under the right administration, I will say. And I think it's valuable to understand why the government is doing things, maybe what their goal is, and also maybe why like a company, corporation doesn't agree with them, and maybe get their side of it too. Kind of just, you know, analyze the situation, explain it, give some context, historical context, maybe what led up to it. So yeah, I'll have the link in kind of in Twitch chat, YouTube, or my Twitch description, YouTube, in Twitter and everywhere. I'm kind of gonna do a little bit of a rebrand. Like Brady's Brain is kind of my streaming personality and kind of there, and then, you know, kind of is synonymous with my personal brand of just my name, and my website. Uh, so kind of gonna like make it a bit more unified in a way, but still keep the separate names and kind of just go from there. But you'll see the newsletter here probably come next week as I'm getting better. Came down from a cold, but yeah, let me actually, it's getting pretty warm in here, so let me adjust the AC and then we'll get started here. My Steam Deck, let me actually mess with this setting real quick. I just don't know why it always goes back to the home screen after like a certain amount of time. I've never been able to find a setting or anything that adjusts that, but oh well. Just that after stream after. Oh, Like we're always at this weird time of the year right now where it's like freezing in the morning, but it's way too hot during the day. So it's like, you gotta bundle up in the morning to get cold. And then by the time the sun comes, up more, you're, well, why is my desktop? Goes the shit as soon as I'm starting. Airbnb works. Home with cam. This works. I can't go to the desktop. That scene doesn't exist. There we go. Hey guys. Alright, let's adjust this topic here too, because I did add this. Start off with go to the Boeing, because it's just not much there. Boeing union deal. How's that look? Alright. Seems like audio's good too. I haven't really found a good position for my mic yet, but look at. Alright. Boeing and Union reached a deal this morning. Now, initially, kind of after the past month that's been unfolding with this, I feel bad for the union workers, because at this point, Boeing is almost like a failing company. Like, they're literally hemorrhaging money, losing $1 billion a month. They're cutting even more jobs. They're selling, literally starting to have to raise money to for stock and debt to, plug their fucking cash leak. 6 billion in quarterly losses, like, is bad, but like, I guess they kind of, like, it's not as much as I would have thought. um yeah, and I mean, they still don't, I don't know what this means. Does not restore pensions. And and I guess, like, comparing a pension to a 401k, a 401 pension seems a bit more safer than a 401k, because a 401k, kind of has to be open market, buy stocks and stuff. You can buy bonds and stuff, but uh I guess it's not as safe. I would say a pension is one of the bigger benefits of a union or a government job, or a, like, state or city job is, the pension. And so not having that is a big blow. But I guess if they understood that maybe that's not what was like, they may not have gotten that, that's okay at least. But I mean, this seems like okay. And this, I now I'm thinking about it, I do wonder what actually, like, why they can't restore the pensions. But they could still increase 401k and give, like, I mean, this is like penny, like nothing to Boeing, who's raising 25 billion. But I do wonder, like, what that actually means. um I mean, they're paying annual bonuses, so I mean, I guess, like, it does seem like the original offer was 25, but I need to, let's actually um that's crazy. And that's at least 10 billion, and then this year it says 25 billion. That's like a huge jump. Yeah, let's let's get some other coverage though, because um I don't want to just get Wall Street Journal. Get the AP, because a bit more less opinionated. I mean, Wall Street Journal is actually not that opinionated. The editorial board is a cesspool of bad ideas. Just need to get that out there, but normal Wall Street Journal reporting is okay. Okay, okay, here we go. Yeah. So 30% that was offered last month. Oh, that's not even that much better. But upfront bonuses, $7 per worker instead of 6,000. Okay. And I do wonder if what actually this covers, because I know Boeing is at this point, like they're just so big, like, you know, especially all their government like work and they do with like space and, you know, Launch Alliance and with their, you know, Starship or not Starship, um their, you know, Dragon capsule competitor. Like I do wonder what this covers. Let's see. Yeah. New stock to debt bolster. That's, see, like this is just rough. Like, yeah, but like Boeing is going through it right now. But to be fair, like they've had some big fuck ups that are like inexcusable, and like there should be, like, this is the least that they could be like this isn't bad compared to what, like, people should be in jail. Like realistically, executives should be in jail for what, you know, the mismanagement of 737 Max incidents and all the fucking doors flying off. Like that shit is crazy. Crazy. 10% of workers coming months. 17,000 people. Excuse me. Me coughing here. I'm just kind of coming down from a sickness. Wrong, I swear. Temporarily furloughs. Yeah, but like honestly, like, does this even matter? This, I think, actually did matter because I think this was actually a pretty popular cargo plane. That's crazy, bro. Like, that's so much. Like a bit, $6 billion core losses, yeah, but like, you know, consistently doing that, it's a lot of money. Like, it's a lot of money. Yeah. Boeing filed an unfair labor practice charge against the union. Bro, like what are they trying? Who are, like, whose side are they even on? Like, I mean, obviously they're not on the union side, but like that doesn't look good. Yeah. And it's crazy because look, they're literally based in Arlington, Virginia, you know, directly across from the Pentagon, and I'm sure it's actually let's look at Boeing. Yeah. This is a known thing here. Uh to This is a known thing here that like, here's Boeing. Here's Boeing's headquarters. Mind you, they do nothing here except lobby the Pentagon. Oh, how convenient, right across the way. oh, what also happens to be over here? Oh, every other government contractor, so they could, lobby the Pentagon. Where's Boeing's actual, work being done? Nowhere near here. I mean, South Carolina, like, that's like similar, but it just goes to show how much they actually care about, like, the executives being close to employees and everything. They don't, this is what they're more worried about over here. Arguably, I mean, sure, like, yeah, that could be because, I don't know, need to keep, if that wasn't the case, the union workers might not have a job, but regardless, like, it just shows where their priorities are. Not with the workers. They're more worried about lobbying the government. Now, let's look at in the last testament. Let's look up Boeing stock price. I know it's Saturday, but see. Oof, that's honestly not even like as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I'm sure the 5 years, yeah, this tells a bigger story. But when is this? This is COVID. I'm surprised they haven't even hit this all-time low. I had friends buying Boeing stock, and like, they've kind of bought at the dip, and then they're like, dude, I'm living the life, like, and then now it's been a bumpy ride for Boeing. It's been a bumpy ride. And it's crazy that they're still up here despite everything. I do wonder what they're like, how many orders they have. Been ordered. This is their new plane. So this is Boeing's new plane. How many orders? Okay, see, this is why. This is why that they're doing good. They have a bunch of pre-orders right now. Like they have a solid backlog, and this is a lot of money. And I don't know. I'm sure that there's some sort of well, this is actually, I take this back. This is the only one that matters right now. This is these ones are currently being built. So this is only what matters. This is what matters. They haven't, I mean, they pushed the delivery to 2026. I think it's going to be longer. I think that's, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Boeing even has another incident that delays things further and gives them even more scrutiny, especially with all the union kerfuffle. Like, yeah, I just think that like things are very chaotic right now. And I know with the door incident was crazy because I think I read that when it happened, the guy who was one of the workers was on vacation, and when the door thing happened, he was like, yeah, I was wondering who was doing the inspections because I'm the only one. I thought I was the only one who knew how to do it. It's like, dude, that's crazy. That is crazy. One guy. Yeah. But I do think that that's going to be a problem because, like, if you think big picture, like, these companies who need these specialized machinist roles, or kind of like these roles that take time to get into, or they're more of a senior position, you kind of need a pipeline and you need to forecast, like, what is going to happen for like in the future for like this job. Like, you need a pipeline of people in the pipeline to be able to get, like, achieve these jobs at a later point, and kind of like forecast this, because, like, I don't know, like, that dude's gonna want to retire, or I don't know, like, something terrible may happen and he may, not be able to come to work, one day, and now what? They're just shit out of luck because they're like, oh no, the one guy who could do this thing, the only person who could do this thing is gone. Like, that's typical, like, corporate de-risking. And and like, you could see this in, like, not even like large positions or important like machinist positions like this. At my last job, we had similar like risk like that, where we had a employee who held a lot of knowledge, and like that wasn't really shared. And if something were to happen to that employee, we would be shit out of luck because they have all this knowledge that we need, and now we don't have it. And so there's going to be a lot of like training time, tech debt essentially, to kind of make up for the time for everyone to learn what this employee, like the knowledge they had, and now they don't. And it's a similar, case here where like you need a pipeline, you need knowledge share, you need documentation, you need different ways to be able to upscale or share the knowledge with other people. So when that person's not out, they're sick, like I don't know, like obvious things that person could come and another employee could come in and swoop in and actually like take care of the job. Boeing door incident, machinist. I just want to verify what I was like talking about. uh Yeah, and I think this is the key, is like, yeah, it does raise different it raises like a lot problems, exactly what I was saying, where it's more like processes that are bad training. Like those are fundamental like issues that, I guarantee you Boeing has someone dedicated for just training, like departments, not even a person, like literally departments, documentation for a company of this size, and especially with something that is considered like I would consider almost a national security risk in a way. And just a risk, and you're dealing with like people's lives, flying these things. Like you should have dedicated departments for things like this, and like processes in place. And so like, yeah, if that's the case, then it's definitely a systematic problem that they need to come in and see where the gaps are. uh And I mean, like, yeah, it's like, look at this shit, bro. Like, I mean, the root of it is like, I think that Boeing just got complacent, and honestly, the FAA did too, in probably in their regulation and in their like QA and everything. And like I know for like a fact that it's kind of like a trust system, like where the FAA, like the FAA has people like, I think that's what like the case that kind of became a big thing during the the 737 Max incidents, where there's like representatives that work at Boeing that their only job is kind of like to liaise with the FAA and kind of do this stuff, and like they got complacent, and that there's no, and the FAA did too, like there's like, is, yeah, it's just how it is. And it sucks as like the FAA, is kind of the almost world authority, top dog, number one, like standards wise, aviation, and it bumped them down a bit. Yeah. uh Let's see. Like, I just can't imagine being on this, like, you're playing the fucking door gets ripped off, bro. Like, literally Final Destination shit. Like, crazy. They, whoops. Boeing just like fucking like dishing out names, just like throwing every employee under the bus. I mean, I'm sure they legally have to, but I'm sure they're like, it wasn't the executives. The executives like, it wasn't us. Middle managers like, it's not us. Of course, the workers are the one who gets fucked. I can't find that. Ugh. Okay, back to the strike. Yeah, bro. Who the fuck would even want? Someone who likes a challenge would want to be CEO. There's no other way to explain it. Or someone who's at their end of their career who has nothing else to lose and just maybe wants a little bit of money. Conspiracy to commit fraud. Yeah, bro, they're literally scamming people. They're like, it's safe, I swear. I swear, guys, it's safe. Door blows off. Boeing's like, it wasn't. It was the employee. It was like it was the machinist. He forgot. Like it was like Yeah, I mean, like executives should be in jail. Like there's really that's realistically how it should be. It's a failed. It's a systematic problem, which is the responsibility of the executives. Yeah, and I mean, this is an extension. This is an extension of the systematic problem. It's not just their airplanes. It's every part of their business. Their space business. Like SpaceX is literally running circles around Boeing, like not even close. And I think I think this is also a bigger problem with the government, where the government is getting complacent and they just like to go with the easy contractors. They've worked with them. Boeing, I'm sure, like I just kind of shared, like lobbies the government to get these contracts. And again, there may have not even been any other competition, so it may have just been those two. But like Boeing and SpaceX submit the proposal. But like it's definitely again, it's a systematic problem. Like Boeing got this contract when they probably shouldn't have. And it's irresponsible of Boeing too to put this proposal, like there's when there's lives on the line. It's crazy that they kind of like are this complacent, and it's irresponsible for them to take contracts like this knowing how unprepared that they were, because they knew, like I'm sure the engineers, like I'm sure it's like a typical like for time estimate where it's like engineers want this time, executives come back and like, well, like engineers like, hey, we need 3 years, executives like, well, I'll give you a year and a half, and they're just like, fuck, like okay, like it's like and then they're like, okay, but when time comes, like don't expect us to maybe be on time, because like we told you 3 years and you're not giving us that. Yeah, Boeing's just going downhill, and I think that in as competition, and unfortunately making a jumbo jet like is you can't happen overnight, and I don't have high hopes for Boom or whatever that supersonic plane talked about is. I don't have high hopes for them. I don't know. It's all these old school, old guard, I think is a better way to say, actually, government contractors, Boeing, Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, like Raytheon, um, General Dynamics, that they just get comfy. They balloon prices, charge government way too much, take in a big, payday. Things, fail in the front line, on, when we have our military on the line, or, they charge the government so much that it's almost like scamming them. The government has no other choice because they put themselves in this situation, and no one else can make these things that they want realistically, and so it's just like, what do they like? They have to do it, and now it's like we're kind of seeing the complacency of what this, we're seeing the result of that, which is complacency on the government contractors' parts, on you know even the government's part, Congress. I mean, like realistically, like I mean, like it's so politicized, uh and there's like jobs and like all kinds of crazy shit, but like again, the it's by design. It's the contractors taking advantage of the government, playing the politics, understanding what they need to do to keep contracts and get more because of jobs in certain districts of House and Congress members or Senate members, and lobbying, and it's just etc. It's a big problem, especially if we want to remain competitive. I think it's fine if we just want to slip down and not continue to be a world superpower. If we're okay with that, then yeah, sure, whatever. Like we could just keep going through the bureaucratic process and give the people always what they these government contractors just what they want. But if we want to stay on the cutting edge as the world superpower, it's going to take fixing things like this. And as much as I don't support like all this military and contract stuff, a company like Anduril with Palmer Luckey, which again, like, not the biggest fan, they are changing the game. They're making things competitive, they're innovating, they're doing things really quick, and they're making all the old guard look like they're making them look old, making them look like they can't keep up. And so I think companies like that are going to come in and change the game a bit, which is good, because I think that this military industrial complex as it is in a tough spot for the government, because they don't really have any other choice. Yeah. Yeah, Boeing has lost money on this too, I guarantee it. The fact, and see, this is what I'm talking about. SpaceX is on the side like Anduril, where they're innovating, they're competitively priced because they actually understand how to make money on like, but in like essentially like bring down cost of goods and in like their fixed cost and make things efficient. Like they understand the economics of it and going into it like looking at it like a business, where they want to be competitive. And you know what SpaceX did, and SpaceX, I was independently developing their vehicle. I'm pretty sure, and this is kind of like uh money on top of it. But like, just look at this. They gave Boeing nearly double almost, what SpaceX got, and SpaceX is running circles around them with just such with half as much. It's literally like it's a joke. It's literally a joke. Starliner, okay, it is called Starliner, okay, or no, yeah, Starliner, okay. I couldn't remember. It was Star something. Yeah, yeah. They overran $1.5 billion. Like, yeah, Nelson needs to stop sticking up for Boeing. And I guess like I understand that he has to, because I mean, like, I'm sure he had some part in awarding the contract to Boeing, and so he has to kind of defend the pick. Yeah. Oh wow, that is crazy. Actually, when was this written? Wow. F-15s are great planes, but they are old gen, third gen fighters. I think, fourth gen maybe. was a big tangent, but you know, I think we got a good maybe history on Boeing. Gave my opinion on some of their uh on the company and kind of what they've been going on. Yeah. I think Boeing is I think Boeing is a they are, how do I say this? They're everything that's wrong with the current like military industrial complex, where they, you know, they got complacent, the government got complacent, the planes, you know, like lives, people died because of it, and now they're seeing the consequences. And I think this should be a warning to, you know, any other government, you know, large government contractor who maybe are like is falling down the same path as Boeing. I think this is a warning. And I guarantee you that I'm sure there are other contractors, large ones, are tightening things up, like, you know, shit like this. Yeah, dang. All right. What's in my title? Oh yeah, big tech needs more power. Nuclear power, that is. Is there any good source on this? Let's refresh this here. Guess we could look at this. Here we go. Verge and CNBC and BBC. All right, and this is actually a good lead into AI, because I do want to talk a bit about AI. I want to talk with, you know, fucking Salesforce bro, uh, talking about AI, Treasury Department AI, and Google. Crack open our caffeine. We got a white monster today. Get them at Costco. Good deal. I do like one thing. I wish Red Bull had made more like larger volume drinks. Like I want like a mini 8 Red Bull, like 80 milligrams caffeine, but in like a can like this, because I just like to sip on things, and so I don't want a lot of caffeine, but I just want a lot of, like a big drink to sip on with not a lot of caffeine. This will do. I may not even finish this. Hey, fuck. All right. Nikkei, Japan Stock Exchange. All right. So let's give some context on this. I know I've been shitting on the US government and everything today, but the US has an electrical grid problem. And where our grid is outdated and it can't keep up with the demand of all the green energy and like new solar that we have, and cold weather if you're Texas, but they're a special case because they're not actually hooked up to the same system, I'm pretty sure, and they put too much, you know, too much weight onto wind energy, and you know that, and like I don't know, like that whole debacle. But most importantly nowadays is data centers and tangential AI, which is a result of that. We don't have enough data centers to keep up with AI demand, and we don't have enough power to keep up with the data center demand, and our grid can't keep up with the amount of power that we're going to have to add on to keep up with the demand of data centers. Also electric vehicles. I think that was even before data centers, it was electric vehicles. Like assuming that, you know, we're going to transition into more electric, like more people are going to get electric vehicles and off of, you know, combustion engines, gas powered. um and you know, I guess, you know, like I kind of want to cover more tech stuff, and so like the data center thing is huge, and like it can't be understated like how, like literally. So actually let's look at Elon Musk, and we'll get to this Google thing, but what's Elon Musk like? XAI Tennessee data center. So Elon Musk in XAI. Yeah, here we go. Data center dynamics. Yeah, here we go. Okay, this is yeah, so this is literally what it's come down to. They need power so bad. There's a natural gas pipeline that goes that's um F grade. Yeah, and actually this is I'll there's even more I'll talk about with corporations and kind of like the sacrifices gonna have to make. Yeah, they have 100,000, which this is actually a very large cluster, one of the largest, I think, actually, in a single spot. But yes, without a permit, bro. See, like this is where it's crazy because it becomes a point where it's they just build into their you know estimates and forecasts and projections that, yeah, we know like it's worth it for us to just not even pay, like go through the normal like bureaucratic process of getting the permits. Like it's worth it to just pay the penalty. Like that's where it's like, what's even the point of the regulation? Like that either need to be stricter or just gone. Like that you know, especially for large companies, or it needs to be a different. They need to have a different strategy of charging them based off of like income or percentages or something. Yeah, and so this was specifically used, this place in Memphis, Tennessee, because uh there's a natural gas pipeline that that's near this like where they're going to build this data center, and they literally have to tap into the natural gas pipeline, which then they're using these turbines, you know, to power, because they just need power so bad and they can't find it anywhere else or build fast enough to get the power, you know, to this spot. Like that is how bad that they need power. So bringing it back, you know, Google is kind of going a different route, and you know, and it seems like they purchased a nuclear, you know, power plant to, you know, nuclear energy like startup to kind of make up, you know, to for them to get power. Now, this is interesting because let's see if it's actually mentioned in the article. It's not. So corporations have to follow, public corporations, they have something called an ESG rating. And an ESG is it stands for environmental, social, governmental, I think. Uh yeah, environmental, social, governance. So here we go. This is essentially a new way to kind of rate companies based off of kind of like their moral good, or like how they're actually doing, like, you know, outside of just profits going up, you know, money come in, you know, line go up. And it's essentially a way to allow like hedge funds and other, you know, investment places to kind of make uh uh investments that are like maybe like more than just based off of, yeah, their income. I guess I know I kind of said that, but you know, it's like the company, like if a company has, you know, a rating, it's like, you know, they're managing like their social, like, you know, they're good socially to their employees and like maybe to the rest of the country. they aren't just trashing the environment in, you know, to like make better profits, and like they actually care about like internal issues and like, and you know, like penalty fees and like, you know, not following regulation, and so they risk you know, like having a lower ESG score. Now I actually don't know like why this does matter, like you know, like what uh yeah, I guess they're it's like posing as risk. Let's watch this. Let me unmute my desktop. Oh my god, the
A
basic
large
corporate.
and increasing number of the world's investors are integrating environmental, social and governance, or ESG, to understand risks and opportunities. Can you spot the difference in the financials of these two companies? They seem identical, but an ESG lens can help investors identify risks not picked up by conventional financial analysis.
I see. So they're posing it as a risk. Because actually, and this is interesting because I agree, where like, you know, some sort of social uprising, like with your employees, or bad PR, like, you know, versus if the company takes a stance on social issues, that could be a risk, you know, to an investor. Because it, you know, like there's a case with all the boycotts with companies, based off of like stances they take. Like that's a legitimate risk.
Risks that could impact,
And especially environmental, like, you know, you kind of want to, I mean, if you're just investing, like there's no way, like, I swear, what's Chevron or Exxon ESG rating, like, you know, like they have to have like shit ESG ratings, and I swear if they have good ESG ratings, it's ESG's a scam. Okay, good. Wait, is this, yeah, okay, good, bro, like fucking, I was like, dude, there's no way you could just buy your way out of ESG ratings. But like, what's the actual rating though? Like, I know like this must be like CCC, that triple C. It has to be this. There's no way. Okay, sorry, let's finish this.
financial performance because of operational costs or cost of litigation. Different ESG risks can impact different industries. However, corporate governance, due to its universal importance, is examined for all industries. ESG ratings focuses in on what's significant to a company's bottom line and comparable with its peer group. So what are significant ESG risks? Here's an example. Water is important to everyone, but it only poses a significant risk to certain industries. Water could determine whether a mining company remains profitable or even afloat. But it's less important to the consumer finance industry, so water risk would not determine their MSCI ESG rating, but cybersecurity may. We look at the company's exposure to industry-specific risks, based on its business activities, size of its operations, and where it operates. Then we look at how a company is managing their risks. It's a balancing act. Companies that fail to manage ESG risks have historically experienced higher costs of capital, more volatility, and accounting irregularities. How do we collect the data? MSCI ESG ratings is not about hammering companies for all of their data, nor is it about asking for their opinion. We collect the most relevant publicly available data and use a precision approach designed to ensure that MSCI ESG ratings pinpoints the most significant risks a company faces. We collect data from thousands of sources. We also consider controversies that may indicate performance failures. How do we calculate the MSCI ESG rating? We assign percentage weights to each ESG risk according to our assessment of their time horizon and impact. The ESG scores are then combined and normalized relative to industry peers to achieve the overall ESG rating.
I've been muted. Oh wait, have I been? that's important to say here, because comparing Boeing to Google might not be like fair, because like they each have different risks for each category. Boeing's environmental risk is different than what Google's necessary is, and same with like their governance. Like Boeing's governance is like, oh, actually, let's see this Boeing ESG rating. It's probably like, I hope that theirs is low, because it would not be fair if theirs is high. Okay, yeah, especially like their governance rating. I like in terms of like the ESG is high, which I actually want to look at. Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab has really good like one pagers, and they explain the ESG rating really well. I'll pull it up here on the side. We'll just keep watching this. But yeah, I think it's good that they actually at least compare it to other people. Hang on a second, one. Our friend's not feeling too well.
So what does a poor ESG rating look like? For example, a mining company that fails to manage ESG risks may 1. Mismanage water resources, waste and emissions. 2. Demonstrate severe lapses in safety. And 3. Have a self-serving board with evidence of corruption. ESG ratings helps investors identify companies that are leading or lagging within their industry, which may flag opportunities or risks not captured by conventional financial analysis. Investors can use ESG ratings for fundamental or quant analysis, portfolio construction and risk management, engagement and thought leadership, and benchmarking, and for index-based products.
I do wonder, like this seems a bit subjective. Like, I wonder what the actual data, like what they collect. But yeah, 1 second. I want to pull this up. Okay, here we go. ESG. Where's their Here we go. Okay, let's just look at Boeing. So yeah, here's their. See, this explains it so much better. You guys, okay? Let me just make sure you guys see. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, Boeing's below kind of lower average. See, I can't believe they have a 3.8 governance. Like, this should be way lower. Like, if like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. But anyways, to bring it full circle, bring it back around. Yeah, right. So data centers, AI, big. Yeah. So essentially, Elon Musk was with XAI. They needed power so bad that they built a they strategically built this, you know, data center in Memphis, Tennessee, because it was right next to a natural gas pipeline that they could tap into to then, you know, bring in and use to power the data center, because they need to, you know, 100,000 H100 processors to, you know, train their AI models, and these things are power hungry. Like, you know, and this is like, I wonder actually if they say how big. Like, this is like nearly, you know, this isn't probably gigawatts, it's probably like, you know, 500. This is about the gas. I want to see. We don't know anything. Oh, 150 megawatt. That's nothing. That's honestly not even that big. I mean, it's big, but like it's. I thought it'd actually be more for 100,000 H100s. Southeast. Yeah. Oh. AI about the projects and smarts. Company agreed to pay million. Current size only 8 megawatts. Yeah. 50. $700,000. Well, XI is pledging to spend $24 million on it. Yeah, so a new substation to provide additional 150 megawatts. Believes it can complete this project more quickly and cheaply than which I actually do that believe that they will do it quickly and cheaply. I do believe that they will, but it's again, it's coming at the cost of, you know, air pollution and, you know, other, you know, it's coming at a cost, just not of money necessarily to the taxpayers and the local folks. Yeah, see, strain on the grid. Yeah. Largest multi-billion-dollar investment in the cities of Memphis history. Wow. Giga. What's up with Elon Musk and his fucking giga and factories? Uh, 100,000 each 100 liquid cooled clusters within the next few months. 300,000 next summer. That's crazy. Yeah, they're renting from Oracle Cloud because they the H100s are hard to come by right now. I think Nvidia only produces like 1 million or so a year, maybe 2 right now. And I know they announced the Blackwell and their new chips, but really. Here we go. Let's I'm gonna just read this. Say contract 24K in Grok 2, train on those Grok 2s through. Oh, is building 100 each one itself for fast time completion. Yeah. Now, like, to be fair, I think this pales in comparison to someone like OpenAI, because I mean, OpenAI, they're gonna start building their own data centers, because right now they essentially are on the teat of Microsoft and Azure, and you know, they could, you know, that's essentially how Microsoft gets, you know, has, you know, 49%, however much you know, equity they have in OpenAI. Most of it was given to OpenAI. The money that they gave for that 49% was for Azure credits, compute credits. Here we go. Yeah, Oracle's a great company, and there's others that show promise also involved in the OpenAI GB200 cluster when our fate depends on being faster by far. Yeah. I mean, XAI is like, no offense, like they're just so far behind. Like Grok is like, I mean, I kind of think it's a waste of money at this point. Granted, Elon Musk does have, you know, he kind of could like do this whole like, which he kind of have like has been doing before, where like all of his companies kind of like are customers of each other, and that's essentially how you could kind of make them like profitable in a way where like they kind of sell to each other and they're kind of intertwined. Sorry, not profitable, like that's not how they make them profitable, but that's how you could justify doing things, because I'm sure like Grok AI, like, you know, it could be used, you know, or, well, I mean, to be fair, Tesla actually, they I'm sure are gonna have to have their own data centers outside of this Grok thing, because they're training, you know, they're training essentially an AI, but like different for full self-driving. But like, I think that actually is different. I think that's different. But yeah, so data center, power grid. Yeah, so this is Elon Musk. So this is just the extent of that they're that they like the big tech needs to invest in power to keep up with the demand of data centers going in, you know, AI. And you know, this is essentially the market working, because this is insane to say, but you know, like these big tech companies are actually going to force the grid to be upgraded. If not, in this case with, you know, XAI and Elon Musk, they're going to upgrade the grid themselves, or you know, like at least like, you know, upgrade it enough to where like it meets the standards of the power, you know, the data center. I don't know, actually, now I'm thinking about this, I don't know if this is going to trickle out to the rest of the grid. I think that it's going to essentially become like a just like normal wealth inequality, where like all the places that have what they need will get upgrades, but everyone else is going to be in the dust and at the mercy of the government or local for-profit, mind you, utilities that will pass on the pricing, will pass on the cost to the consumers, to probably upgrade the grid. And I doubt the government, like, you know, the government I'm sure has, like, they do have money, like, you know, I think with the Infrastructure Act, the CHIPS Act, I think all those kind of like do give money to help upgrade it, but like it's nowhere near what like big tech needs. I'm just making shit up, like I like, don't take my word on that one. But yeah, so anyways, Google excuse me, Google is taking a different route. They are going the nuclear power route, which is arguably much better. Now, that whole side treated on ESG wasn't for nothing. Google's a public company. They have to worry about ESG. They need to keep this up in order to stay competitive, you know, and like manage risk and everything with other, you know, within like their stock market. Well, what is it? Controversy level? Total medium? Why can't they just do like the letter rating like everyone else? Is this letter rating thing like proprietary or something? Like, what does this mean? Go to Morningstar. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Google's ESG actually, yeah, they're at the top. Look at this. This is insane, bro. Top ESG business ethics, data and privacy. Like, that's insane. So anyways, they fall average though, to be fair, which is, this is where the if we remember back to that video we watched, like this is where most companies fall in. This is like the average rating. I don't remember where it was. Yeah, here we go. So like Google falls in the average, to be fair. But companies are going to have to start thinking about sacrificing ESG rating, lowering their ESG rating to keep up with technological innovation when it comes to AI, because they're going to have to start taking risks and making sacrifices to for power, because like using sustainable energies, like things like solar and wind, they're very, solar only works during the day, wind only works when it's windy, essentially, or like depending on the region. And for data centers, like you need consistent high energy, high power throughput, and like those things can't necessarily give that to you. You could use things like batteries and everything, but like you're talking massive size batteries and like massive power, like where it actually like the I don't know the inefficiencies and like how it scales, but like you have that comes into question when it gets to the size. What will I have open? So we kind of like we're getting into that scale of things. Google's going the nuclear power route, and nuclear power, like it has a bad rap and it's very politicized, but like it's actually one of the great clean alternatives to natural gas and just oil and in general. The waste is actually not that big of a problem nowadays, because you could use the waste is easily recyclable and it's reused to power in other different kinds of nuclear power plants. And so like the waste, like it's definitely a thing still, but like if money's involved, especially big tech, lobbying's going to happen. Like they'll find a solution. Like we'll come up with a solution as soon as money's involved. So I don't think that's an issue, but other like companies are going to have to start taking an ESG like hit when it comes to like scaling, data centers, finding ways to get power for this. Google's going the nuclear energy route, which, I mean, like, let's look right here, Carios Power, they don't even have one running 2030. Purchases electricity from multiple reactors that would be built through 2035. Yeah. Okay, so Google, I'm so sorry, I misspoke. Google didn't acquire the company. They're just buying power from them. They need a lot more clean energy to meet climate goals while pursuing AI ambitions. Yep. New nuclear technologies are still improving at scale, but set a goal to and like I'm sure they are. Sundar is shooting himself in the foot, because this is before the AI hype, and now they're like, fuck, like dude, like why would we set these goals when we need so much power, to meet this AI demand? Like, bro, I'm sure they are regretting this. Overall, it's net good, because like corporations are the largest contributor to climate change, and reversing that is imperative to the survival of humanity on Earth, at least. But planet heating pollution by half compared to 29 baseline, and yet since 2019 its total grain centers have grown. That's crazy. Yeah. Yep. AI is added the scale. We are now looking at additional investments, be it solar, battery technologies like small modular reactors. And I think small modular reactors, I follow this newsletter called The New Money. Shout out. And they follow like essentially like old companies, like mining, energy, things that are kind of like generally thought to be like older, and they kind of follow new startups that are kind of like trying to innovate in this space. And small nuclear reactors, there's a few companies out there trying to build them, and I think that is kind of the way, because it kind of makes a more decentralized power system. We could have them in like smaller cities that you don't need a large nuclear power plant type of like silos, like think of like The Simpsons and shit. Like you don't really need that kind of stuff when you have like kind of more modular ones, where it maybe just is more like a substation within a city, kind of like more that size. I think that is like a good way to go. I also think hydro is just the best alternative, and that is more limited, but you know, essentially large batteries. Hydro power, you know, acting as large batteries is kind of a good alternative, and I think like that is kind of if we don't want to go nuclear, like that's probably the next biggest one. And hydro is the largest clean energy, like that's where we get most of our clean energy from in the US, I'm pretty sure, like is hydro, like by not even close actually. Let's look this up. USA clean where does the US get most of its energy from? I actually think hydro might be just the largest in general, even outside of natural gas. Okay, here we go. 2023. Wow, not even close. Okay, yeah, so it's just of the renewables. Let's look. There's a better graph. It's like a no, it's more specific. Wow, I was not even close. Maybe it was California or something. Like, what's renewable? It's so generalized. Here we go. Wow, okay, so I was wrong. I was way off. This is interesting. Biofuels is considered renewable. Interesting. So here we go. Yeah, hydro. Wow, it's actually on the down. That's interesting. I was way off. There's like a specific chart I was looking for. It might be California. But I was, look up, kid, California, we import a lot. I mean, we consume a lot of energy. Oh, prices? Oh, it's cool. Then we could get this here. Here we go. Yeah, large hydro. I'm seeing the graph. Bro, this is all they could do. This is some shitty Excel fucking chart. Like, bro, like what? You can't even read this. This is the best they could produce. Yeah, Hydro's California's largest oh, here we go, natural gas. Not even close. Yeah, that's their second, but look at nuclear's like on, you know, it's on the. Oh, this is 2016. Okay, here we go. See, hydro's going down. That's so interesting, actually. Nuclear's about the same, but nuclear's gonna start going down. This is a few years old now, but solar has more solar now. Hydro, yeah, hydro's third. Large hydros is the way. Anyways, huge side tangent. So yeah, Google's taking a different route. They're going down this. Like interest nuclear seems to be giving an entry boost. Yeah, Which I think nuclear is the easiest way for us to get off of burning fossil fuels. Like, it's the easiest way. It produces so much energy. It's just politicized at this point. And it's definitely not like a solves all the problems, like a one solution that solves everything, but I think that it should be considered again, and it's there's too much smear campaign going against it. Things like Fukushima, or I can't remember the name, but those are anomalies. Old technology. Chernobyl, like, there's obvious reasons why those went wrong, and it's not fair to compare those against like modern day nuclear reactors. 500 megawatts. Now, if you remember, Elon Musk was just trying to get 150 megawatts. These are the scales we're talking. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, power is going to be a big deal for continuing the AI boom. Granted, I had another article, but chip makers are definitely, like, the AI boom's cooling a bit. The AI bubble, maybe you could even say, it's cooling a bit. And we saw that with chip makers. TSMC obviously was going up, but they benefit outside the AI boom. They Nvidia, Apple, I think AMD, like, they're all TSMC customers. So, like, they all of those companies are thriving because of AI, but they also have other businesses that are not AI that are still great. So TSMC definitely benefited, but I think it was like ASML, and some of the other chip makers. Well, ASML's actually stuff got leaked, but they are struggling compared to TSMC. And I think it's the AI boom cooling, but big tech, they're still all competing against each other, and I think that's important for keeping it kind of going and keeping these kind of like more public works projects of increasing power generation, the grid, and building a data center is borderline public a public project, because of it definitely brings stimulus to like local like communities, brings like high paying jobs there. Those high paying jobs, then those people go then spend money at McDonald's and local businesses, and kind of food things, shopping, housing, which then in turn brings in like the services like plumbing, HVAC, like it boosts the economy like in all senses, and that's assuming that it's good, but I'm sure there's negatives. I think there's definitely some sort of outside, like as a local, like an outsider mentality going in, especially in smaller towns. Like, they may not, it may change the culture there a bit too much. And so, that's definitely negative, I would say, to locals. Um, but, it depends on how much you value technological innovation and growing and like continuing, the growth of things like AI and in data centers. And I mean, just think about it now, actually. Like, I do wonder if we're going to be like overbuilt in a way where like we actually have too many projects. Let's say AI maybe plateaus for a bit. Like, they're going to essentially have to find customers now for those data centers that may not be for AI. And I think that could be a risk. But there's a great talk with newsletter semi analysis. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Got a call. Be right back. Be right back. All right, sorry about that. Just sticks for some plans later. I'm expecting a call, so I might dip out here for another minute. Comes, but good stand up. Need a break. Uh, yeah. So I think we'll wrap up on this, but yeah, an interesting dilemma that we're in here with big tech needing more power to support AI. To They need to bigger data centers and more data centers to support training larger models and everything. Oh, also one thing I want to say is the government, like the US government, again, kind of going back to the other take about them kind of this is the US government. If they want to stay superpower, this is important to them. They should be also, yeah, they should be just as invested in this as tech as big tech is, because China is their biggest competitor right now. And kind of, oh yeah, the semi analysis guys, this is oh, semi analysis. Yes, Dylan Patel. Uh, these guys are. I listened to a great podcast with Dylan Patel and Asianometry, and they were talking. This is um, what I'm trying to say. This is the newsletter, but it was in the. I can't even remember what the guy, like what podcast they're on, but China, the US right now is competing with China, and China has, a different, like, they have different controls, like there are different like levers they could pull compared to the US government. US government's generally speaking, like a mixed economy, but like mainly a free market when it comes to like kind of competitive competition like this. And that's what the US government's banking on more so than them kind of stepping in and like kind of directing people and muddying the waters with like corporate government relationships, or like power and control. Whereas in China, they could kind of just be like, you know what, you're a government company now, or I don't know how it works, but like China has more like pull and say and power when it comes to that, so they could centralize resources. And so what they were saying, um uh what Dylan was saying in the podcast was kind of like, that if if China is scale pilled, that may be something they want to do, where like they could essentially centralize all their GPUs and compute power that they have in order to get one like large body, one single large entity ahead of what what like the US currently has. So that's an interesting consideration. So yeah, but I do plan on covering more semiconductor and like chip industry stuff, because I think it's going to be a hot topic for a while, maybe the next few years, as the AI stuff kind of comes into play, new models come out, more competition pops up, as chips and GPUs become more rare, and like new ones come out. I think it's going to be an interesting dynamic and interesting time in that industry. So I do plan to cover that as they come out. And then speaking of AI, let's go into. Let me close some tabs here, and then I'm actually going to take one more quick break, and then we'll come back. We'll come back into this. I keep getting used the marker here. Let's mark this. My average stream bitrate is too high on Twitch. I don't know if that's good or bad. On Twitch, I don't know if that's good or bad. I think because I'm streaming at 6,000, and Twitch only supports up to 4,000, but YouTube could support 6,000. But it looks very good on Twitch, so like I don't know what it is. Oh shit! I forgot to update my topic. All right, I'm trying to figure the streaming thing out. Current topic, Treasury thing, AI. sales forces top tech bro says AI is overhyped. This is Mark Benioff, not CEO, top tech bro. Oh wait, I need to get the trademark thing. Let's show up. There we go. AI sales rose top tech bro says. All right, I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. Alrighty, we're back. I have to dip out here in a few more minutes one more time, but all right, let's get back into it. Treasury Department. So Treasury Department uses AI to recover $1 billion in fraud. Trying to get source here. It really is not much. We'll go to the Hill. All right. $1 billion over the past year. So I mean, first off, it's already a bit the headline's a bit weird because they're just using machine learning, which machine learning is kind of the backbones of AI. You know, machine learning's been around a lot longer. It's used a lot in a lot more places, like anything from, you know, prediction to, like, you know, recommendations, like, you know, things in the, you know, when you're shopping, machine learning's used. So it makes sense that, you know, they could, you know, train something with machine learning on, you know, fraudulent stuff and criminals, and, you know, they you know, think about like accounting statements and things like that. You know, you could use and you could feed it a bunch of data, train a model on that, and then, you know, give statements from, you know, I don't know, companies, and then the model could predict to a certain, you know, certainty that you are actually, like, you know, that it's like, oh yeah, this is there's some sort of fraud going on. Oh, hang on. Trying to help my mom tune in. Go to all right, this story actually wasn't as cool as I thought. It's actually kind of boring. But continuing the AI hype here, Mark Benioff, CEO Salesforce, you know, biggest tech bro in Silicon Valley, says the AI is overhyped and blames Microsoft. And I actually do agree with this in some way, because I think you know, big tech kind of promised AI as like a you know, a solve all our problems kind of technology, allows, you know, workers to be way more productive and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, we're still at the expense of, you know, bureaucratic processes within organizations and corporations. There's still unknown security risks involved with, you know, allowing this kind of stuff, using like OpenAI and stuff to train our data. I know from personal experience in my past, you know, like my companies have been worried that, you know, you feed in, you know, we give proprietary data maybe that we only know, or we kind of share quote unquote like company secrets in a way that you know, we use these tools to like kind of ask questions like that, and then they in turn have this data that they wouldn't otherwise have, because, you know, employees at companies are feeding in data to ask it questions or to help do analysis. And then, you know, they, you know, ChatGPT, OpenAI, you know, Google's Gemini, they use the data that you give it to then train its models, you know, which, you know, is definitely a conflict of interest. And if you're a company, you know, that's very it's not very risk averse, because you know, data is sometimes your biggest competitive advantage, and if ChatGPT then just has all of that, it's not really the best for in terms of risk for the company. But this is ironic because Salesforce is actually an early adopter of a lot of AI stuff. They have something called, now Salesforce is known because they keep jumping around in their naming things, but they had something called Einstein AI, and it's changed names like 20 times, and Salesforce is so bad at this. But Salesforce has so many AI products now, it's actually crazy. Einstein Copilot. And so I mean, they're doing it themselves. They, Mark Benioff doesn't have much room to talk considering how heavily invested Salesforce is in AI, and they definitely sell it as like this will solve your problem. Like, it'll give you like the best insights, like overhyped just as much as Microsoft is. So he doesn't have much room to talk. And Salesforce, in terms of a business model, is leaning in on AI and using that as a large selling point. I guarantee if I go to the front page, it's going to be something with AI. Boom, right here. Literally, #1 AI CRM. Like, what does that even mean? Like, literally, what does that even mean? So, let's look into this. But doesn't think it can do what its biggest proponents say it will do. And he, not surprisingly, blames market. Yeah. Month before Salesforce, Technar's Dreamforce, which Benioff endlessly pitched, pumped, and lauded AI, at least it's used in Salesforce's own products. He's now setting on a setting expectations tour, and he's trash talking his biggest competitor and arch rival, Microsoft. And I mean, it makes sense. He has incentive to trash talk Microsoft because Microsoft has SharePoint, and which is kind of its own like similar CRM like tool, and Microsoft owns, has 49% stake in OpenAI, which is, a competitor to Salesforce. I've never been more excited about anything in Salesforce, maybe in my career. He also warned that customers have been told things about enterprise AI, maybe AI overall, that are not true. He said, I think Microsoft has done tremendous disservice to not only our whole industry, but all the AI research that's being done. And something important to note is, while Salesforce has AI products, it's still siloed within their kind of CRM, and you have to, and like Salesforce is a heavy product, as in like it's expensive. There's a lot of investment to get it up and running. You kind of build your business in a way around Salesforce's product, or something like Microsoft. Like I'm using Windows right now. Like I'm, on my computer, I'm using Windows. I could go and like Copilot is built into, Windows. Windows is used on a lot of enterprise computers. Copilot, which is their, Microsoft's AI, is built right into the computer, so it's easy to use, and it doesn't have this big, heavy, way to get into it like Salesforce kind of does. And so, that right there, that just is a competitive advantage that Microsoft has over Salesforce. So I mean, like, I don't know, Mark definitely has incentive to kind of trash talk right now, but I am curious, like, if Satya Nadella, which is CEO of Microsoft, has if he has any response to this. Yeah, Clippy. We may have heard from these AI priests. That's funny. I've never heard it called that. Sam Altman, CEO, yes, founder of OpenAI. He's the villain. So this is actually, I guess, if we compare, let's actually look at what Salesforce's product is, because a lot of the OpenAI, or a lot of the AI things that we see today are large language models. They're generative AI. That means like they're good at generating and coming up with things in response to something. That isn't always the best approach when you want to create AI model. Einstein or whatever they have, I don't think this is like a generative AI like a ChatGPT, or just GPT, like, GPT-4, whatever OpenAI's latest models are. I think this is actually different, to be fair. And these have existed for a while. Like Einstein existed before OpenAI was big and everything. because it was just a general way, you could kind of generally train, machine learning models, kind of like we were showing in the Treasury Department article. It's similar to that, where that's like a different case than kind of what like Microsoft is doing with like Copilot and everything, which is more generative AI. Which, yeah, I think that is like an important distinction. Yeah, LL models and Microsoft and others, AI is now curing cancer, and AI is curing climate change, and we have to plug into these cancer power plants to get these data centers. None of this is true. At least not yet, not yet. Oh, let's see. Twitter, dude, he's a tech bro because he's like responding to Twitter. He's like, shit. Okay, he just posted on here. Oh, interesting. Agreed. Wait, what did he respond to though? Are not direct bridge to AGI. AGI being artificial general intelligence, which is generally I think considered to be like the end goal right now, like what everyone's shooting for, which does a lot more than just generative stuff. Much of AI's current potential is simply oversold. And I do agree with this. I do agree that like Silicon Valley tech bros, which he is one, by the way, venture capitalists, which he is one, by the way, are overselling kind of it. Yeah, they're overpromising because they want to get hype. Like, there's other incentives than just like, yeah, this is gonna help you. Like, no, they're trying to make money from it. They're trying to get like get influence. Like, there's definitely like different motives going on right now in terms of like who, what people want. AI isn't yet curing cancer or solving climate change, as pundits claim, but our current AI tech does have immense power to drive meaningful improvements in many areas of our lives, as co-intelligence is managing expectations while harnessing AI's capabilities for practical, impactful advancements, and remaining optimistic for a better future. Yeah, that's fair. And actually, I'm curious because you linked to Wall Street Journal article. What he talked about? It's October 11th. This is actually recent. Interesting. I'll have to read this. I'm not comfortable. I haven't read it, so I don't want to talk about it. But I wonder who this is. Let's just look up who this guy is, though. Ann Lucun. Oh, New York professor, senior researcher at Meta Platforms, says warning about technically. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that, but okay. That was a dig at OpenAI CEO Sam Altman earlier this summer. He postulated that AI enhanced health tech, maybe a future version, will help discover cures for cancer. Yeah, see, but like Mark is saying that that's what they're doing now. Sam is, to be fair, is saying in the future that yeah, we see that's like that's a fair assumption, and I think that's a fair like prediction too. I had some research by Gartner about Microsoft Copilot. Yes, here it is, Microsoft Copilot. As Gartner report released in April called the top 10 gotchas of Copilot for Microsoft 365, found that only a quarter of the organization doing Copilot programs, pilot programs are currently planning a large-scale rollout. Yeah, and actually, like, and again, speaking from personal experience, this is exactly what happened. At previous companies that I worked at, where we did have large plans and we had some pilots for using Copilot, but ultimately price, data security, and how we could scale it out and kind of like as a IT department like understand it, like were things that we kind of like ran into, and which led us to essentially not really go down that route. Also, it's yeah, I think data security was like the largest thing. But we were planning, so I think that falls in line with that. Yeah, and I agree with this. I think a lot of it right now is just like it's like a alternative to googling or searching or solving like, you know, simple technical problems or things that could easily be found like that. That's essentially what the alternative is. And like that's like, it essentially just saves time right now, you know. Like I think that's kind of like the biggest thing. I'm sure you could do some data analysis and whatever, but a little too black boxy. You don't really know what's going on, how it comes to conclusions. You need to kind of understand that as an analyst. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, like Microsoft points to market research that Microsoft paid to have done. Like, okay. Yeah, and I mean this is fair, but like I don't know who's like necessarily claiming that. Yeah, and a lot of what AI has done is a party trick. That is a good analysis because it's just like cool, like funny stuff, you know, that like it could be like that could happen that nothing like, you know, things like Siri or Alexa or like Google. I don't even know what Google's like old like voice thing was like did, but it can't really do that. Or you know, those things can't do that. So now these new AI things can, and it's like cool, but it's a gimmicky. It's That's what it is. Yeah, and AI agents is definitely the way that we're going to start going, where we have AI kind of do one specific task, and we kind of, you know, send it out to do the task, and then we kind of could, you know, wait while in the background it kind of processes, and like the AI agent maybe like just like sends out other agents to kind of do things in a way, and it comes back, but those still have to be programmed to do the thing. Like they're like, you know, highly contingent on like the technology and you implementing what you want it, the problems you want it to solve, which again is a big time sink, you know, which like that's a investment corporations need to make, and it's not necessarily something that they could like do like in a split second. You have to, you know, corporate planning, budgeting, all that kind of stuff. Agent Force, that's such a bad name. And I mean, again, like everything aligns with what Mark Benioff is like pushing and promoting. So like that, I mean, that alone just makes me not really trust his like opinion on the thing. And if we're comparing this to something similar, this reminds me of Toyota when comparing to electric cars. Toyota was behind when it comes to electric cars, and I'm not saying Salesforce is necessarily behind in AI, but it makes it seem like he's kind of jealous of what the other companies have when comparing to Salesforce's own AI, and that also he's pushing a agenda that almost aligns exactly with what Salesforce AI currently, you know, currently can do. But Toyota was behind on electric cars, and so they didn't like the idea of electric cars becoming popular because they didn't invest as early as the other car companies. They bet on alternative technologies like the hydrogen gas thing and still going in on hybrids. And now that they're actually way behind what companies like Tesla, Chevy, Honda, like all their Hyundai, all their direct competitors, they're way behind those companies in electric cars because they put it too late, and so they didn't want regulations and tax benefit, you know, tax breaks to go to people who bought electric cars because they're behind. You know, they want the agenda to match what, you know, their products, you know, kind of are currently. And that sounds exactly like what Mark Benioff is kind of doing. He's like, oh, yeah, you know, like LLMs and generative AI, like, nah, it's not that big a deal. But AI agents, that's the next thing. Oh, yeah, also use our Salesforce Agent Force technology. Like, you know, it's like, I mean, come on, dude. Like, it's hard. It's hard to kind of like trust and, you know, believe your opinion when it aligns with an agenda you're pushing and kind of like your capital incentive. But I will say though, AI agents definitely seem to kind of be the new trend that's coming that makes kind of the current LLMs a bit more useful. But um, there's not really anything out there, you know, that is like proving that it could necessarily do that right now. Yeah, build their own. Yeah. Oh, Atlassian has one. See, that's interesting in that because Atlassian is essentially the like they they have Jira and Confluence and Bitbucket, which is a corporate product. Like essentially, large corporations are the ones who primarily use that. Maybe startups and stuff, but usually large corporations, and so that does align with Salesforce because large corporations are usually who uses Salesforce too. So the fact that they're doing it, maybe seems like it's like they're seeing the same trends. In ex Salesforce co-CEO. That's interesting. But we do have to remember this is TechCrunch. They definitely side on startups and venture capitalist side because like that's who they report on. So they kind of you know yeah. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I mean they're showing how AI agents can be useful. So I mean I agree with that. That's crazy. 1 billion agents. I'm curious. I'm gonna hold them to this. Like I don't know. That's crazy. But it's like, has he even launched yet? Like to try it? This name is so bad. Agent Force Agent. Salesforce is so bad at naming things. I guarantee you it'll be called something different before they launch. It'll be named two different iterations of naming before they actually launch. So yeah, they're using it as customer service though, not necessarily like going out and seeking and doing things. That's interesting. Yeah, test, debug code. That is a great example. Yeah, GitHub Copilot. NetBrains. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we'll see. This is interesting, but yeah. I mean, I agree with this sentiment a bit, and I do think it like comes from a thought out place, but I can't help but ignore his motives. He has motives in saying this. I don't know, and I think in a way he's contradicting himself when he says things like we're gonna have 1 billion agents running from Salesforce in the next 12 months. Like, dude, like to me that sounds like you're overhyping something that hasn't even been released, or it's like, or people have just tried it. When did this article come out? Yeah, it came out 2 days ago. Like, yeah, so it's interesting. Interesting. All right. Think I want to talk about this one real quick because and I want to get I don't want to look at NPR, but there's not really many doesn't look like there's many people who covered this. But something that's interesting with, and I kind of actually spoke about this earlier when I was talking about uh the Elon Musk data center, where XAI, Elon Musk's AI bet, like is so far behind a lot of the other AI companies that it's hard to justify him spending as much money as he does on this AI on his AI endeavor. And I mean, like, he couldn't catch up and everything, but one way he can justify it is like, him using things like, this data center or like the XAI at his other companies, and he kind of intermingles all of his companies, like just like, with X, how when he first bought it, he brought in Tesla engineers to help work on the infrastructure in the platform of Twitter, which is like, as a Tesla shareholder, that I would be mad because he's using resources for one company at another company, but they're like, the Tesla shareholders aren't going to see the benefits of using Tesla engineers at Twitter unless you own Twitter stock. But but Elon Musk bought it, so it's private, so it's like, that's just like an interest, like the waters get muddy pretty quick there. But there's some lawsuits around the whole the whole like Elon Musk buying Twitter, where Twitter essentially sued Elon Musk, saying that like you can't like renege on the deal because you signed contracts and everything. And Elon Musk was Texas pilled, and I don't know, just like loves Texas now, moving all of his headquarters to Texas, whatever. And conveniently, it aligns with Elon Musk's political leanings. And the judge who so in this other group, Media Matters, which I think they're just kind of a like a lobbying or like a think tank kind of group. Look on Wikipedia, see what they nonprofit left-leaning watchdog journalism organization. Jesus Christ, that's a mouthful. And they're suing Elon Musk, or let's see. A federal judge in Texas overseeing a high-profile lawsuit filed by billionaire Elon Musk against the watchdog group Media Matters was buying and selling stock in Musk's Tesla company in 2023, the year Musk Tesla filed suit. Yeah, so it's a clear conflict of interest for the judge presiding over this case. And it's kind of like he didn't directly own stock in Twitter or X, which he was presiding over, but he had stock in Tesla, which involved Elon Musk. And so to me, that's a clear conflict of interest. Even if it was like only up to $50,000, like that's still clear conflict of interest, especially for the U.S. judicial system. And we want to maintain integrity of the courts and think that we have good authority and stuff. Like we don't want to risk that. And the judge owned Tesla stock while he was presiding over this case. And this is a larger issue in that it's the same thing for Congress, like Senate and House members. They could own stock in, for example, Nancy Pelosi's investments are insane because her husband is a hedge fund manager, but like her returns are insane. Like, dude, like look at this, bro. She's trading like her volume is $140 million. Like she's buying $5 million of Nvidia while she's passing the CHIPS Act, which is going to give money to Nvidia. Like that's a clear conflict of interest. The US government's currently suing Visa right now. Oh, how convenient. They sold, she sold her Visa stock. And these are just kind of like coincidental, but the point is like it's a conflict of interest, and I think kind of a judge presiding over this is a small issue as a part of the larger one of our government officials being able to own stock in companies that they are deciding large cases on, or passing bills and laws and whatever that will affect these companies that they own shares of, which in turn gets them money. And that's an ulterior motive. Like that's not a good we shouldn't want our politicians, making decisions based off of if they're going to make money. We should make it, based off of raising quality of life or the current circumstances. And, I thought this was like a small issue, but part of a bigger one. But, okay, yeah, but then there's something even interesting here where now, because, that judge clearly favors Elon Musk, in a recent update to its terms of service, which will take effect on November 15th, X/Twitter indicated that it wants to keep legal fights with its users in the court that includes O'Connor, the one who currently, owns stock and, and is favorable to Elon Musk. It says a legal ethics expert and law professor at Georgetown University said the terms of service update appears to be an attempt to keep X/Twitter's litigation in a friendly court. Like, that is so messed up that, like, if you want to, I don't know, if Twitter or X does something messed up and you want to sue them as a consumer, you should have the right to do that. But you should also have the right to do it in a court with, no bias, and you should, have a fresh start. The fact that, you could just, a corporation could just pick a court that is clearly friendly towards them, that all litigation has to go through, like, that's insane. That is crazy. Yeah. And then the fact that the judge denied a disclosure request into what stock that the judge has is crazy. And yeah, so like there's no evidence that shows Tesla has a direct financial interest in the outcome of this case. Tesla neither directly nor indirectly holds equity in X. Tesla is not a direct advisor and does not participate in the affairs of X. Yeah, but it has the same CEO. It has this, like, Tesla engineers have gone and worked on Twitter. Like, there's the waters are muddied. Yeah. So, anyways, that's another crazy thing. Pelosi's been doing a lot of buys here. Sold some Microsoft off. Broadcom, yeah, bro. She knows the Palo networks. She knows that getting to the chips, or her husband, or whoever's managing her money. Roblox. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Network, dude. Network's 250 million. Well, I guess, like, hate the game, not the player. But in a way, the player, House representatives control the game, so they can vote, but that would be hard to pass. All right. Definitely some other things to cover, but I think I'm gonna call it here for today. How long did I stream for? 2.5 hours. Oh. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Probably be back Monday. I'm gonna try and start the more sane schedule after these kind of test streams. See, just feedback from, or things I want to improve on. I definitely jumped around a bit. I want to kind of come into things a bit more structured. I also want to kind of use like a more Canvas software, kind of like I did before, to kind of explain things. Kind of like over here on here. Kind of want to use something like this a bit more. I need to figure out kind of my stream settings. I want to get some more like chatbots figured out. And yeah, so thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you hopefully Monday, if not sometime next week. See ya.